Hey guys, this is Mark with Spiguyver Backpacking. Out here on my back porch tonight to put together a little video. Got home today and had a package waiting for me, and so I'm sure by reading the title of this video you'll know what it's about. So let's take a look. So this is the MiniBullDesign QMH cook kit. So inside of it you have the choke hazard inside of a baggie with some extra carbon felt windscreen, and a pot stand. So this is what comes in the kit. Very similar to the ultralight kit that I took. So this is the ultralight kit that I took with me, Lost Maples. Got some numbers we can take a look at between the two of these, but just side by side they look very similar. You know, both of them have a lid, both hold about 10 ounces, both have a carbon felt windscreen and a stove. So when I got this kit, one of the things I really wanted to take a really good look at was the choke hazard, the MiniBullDesign choke hazard stove. So this is the choke hazard stove, and the way that it works is it's actually two pieces, comes apart, and this is a remote feed stove. So inside of the burner side is the silicone tube that goes between the reservoir and the burner, and then inside of the burner there are two carbon felt discs, and that's what will soak up the alcohol and create the burner. Now he also sends it in the plastic bag, and with that, two additional carbon felts. Now he does say in one of his videos that some people have said that it burns better, maybe hotter, with additional felts. I wanted this primarily to do two things. One would be morning coffee, and two would be for dry baking. I probably wouldn't use this as a standalone going out to boil. I did do some testing with it today just to see what it would do, and it is a very low heat flame, so I think it'd be perfect for doing some dry baking. But what really impressed me is look at the size of this. So I make the Spiguyver Stove out of the 6.5 ounce Starbucks coffee can. It looks huge next to this thing. I mean, just look at the diameter there. Super small. You know, I was really expecting it to be a lot closer to this size than what it actually is. Getting the silicone tube in to the burner and the reservoir isn't the easiest thing, so let's take a look at how that's done. So to assemble this stove, you've got the reservoir, the burner. Inside of the burner are the carbon felt discs, and Tinny shows on his that he puts the tube in without the carbon felt in there. So the tube has an angled cut on it, as you can see here, a nice angled cut. And what that gives you the opportunity to do is start it in the hole, and then what I do is I find if I put pressure with my nail near the side that it is bigger, it will go in. So now you can see that it's all the way in. Now I can put the carbon felts back in there, push them down in, and now when the alcohol runs through the tube, it'll get soaked up into the carbon felt. You have to do the same thing on the reservoir side. So get it started in there, switch hands, start again. You know, it's not the easiest thing. I'm sure with really cold hands this would be a lot harder to do. So I believe I've got it. Okay, I've got it all the way in there. But you can see now there's a problem because these aren't sitting level. So the way to fix that is just make a turn, twist it a little bit more until they both sit level. Now there are two ways that you can fill this to get it started. You can just put the alcohol in this side and start it there, or you could put it in the reservoir side and let it bleed down. Now depending on how hot you want it, how much you want it feeding would depend on how high you want the reservoir side. For dry baking, I'm thinking that level or maybe just slightly incline would be perfect for it. So I've also got this little 4-ounce alcohol container here. I picked this up when I picked up this kit. So I'll show you, we can just put a little bit of fuel in here. The felt will soak that up really well. Or you can put the fuel directly into the reservoir side, and here you can see it comes down the tube and starts being absorbed into the carbon felt. And if I hadn't put any in here, you'd see this absorb a whole lot faster. And if you pick it up higher, it will absorb faster again because you're putting the weight of gravity to pull it down in. So this stove is now fueled and ready to go. So like I said, the two pots, I've got my homemade lid, my homemade pot. They're very similar. Size, height-wise, they're almost identical. But one of the things you notice right off the bat when you pick it up is just how flexible the one that I built is versus the one that Tinny made. Really has a rigidity to it. And it's probably because of this aluminum insert that he makes and puts in his pots. I mean, the construction on this, even though all it is cutting it down and putting in this lip, just adds so much rigidity to it. Structurally, it's so much more sound like that. He's got the wicking on here, whereas I have just another silicone band and then the silicone band lip guard up top. And then the lid itself is just an aluminum lid with his little maple knob on top. So really very similar until you start talking about weights, and we'll talk about those in a minute. All right, so we've talked about the actual pot, the stove itself, but it also comes with this pot stand. And normally he has one piece cut out. This one, when it came, was completely whole all the way around, both top and bottom, which when it's like that, you can't really set it around the tube. So I went ahead and I cut out one little piece there on the wire mesh so that it can now sit down over that tube and sit flat. And then the pot just sits directly on top of it. Fits actually so snugly in it that when you pick it up after setting it in there, the pot stand comes with it. So you know that you're getting a good fit there because it comes up with it, at least most of the time. There we go. It also has the carbon felt windscreen. It's exactly the same. I mean, the size of the one that I had made for my homemade one versus his is almost identical. So let's go ahead and light this stove up and just show flame pattern and how it works. So it lights up real easy. You know, there's just fuel down here soaked up into the felt. But you can see it's kind of a small flame right now. We'll go ahead and set the pot on top. And I will put the windscreen around it. Let it go for a couple of minutes just to warm up, and we'll come back and take a look at the flame. All right, while we're waiting for the flame to heat up so we can see the good flame pattern, let's talk about the weights a little bit. So this entire cook kit here is one of the lightest mass-produced. Well, I don't know that you can say mass-produced. It's one-off when he makes them, but commercially available. It's one of the lightest kits you can get. And then you've got a super ultralight kit in mine that I put together. Both of them have a pot with a lid, a stove, and carbon felt windscreen. So the difference, though, is mine is noticeably weaker, but also lighter. I like the performance of my stove a lot. The little Spiguyver stove works great. So let's talk about the weight. So the MiniBullDesign kit, this whole kit right here, everything you see, the reservoir, the entire choke hazard, stove, pot stand, pot, windscreen, is 100 grams. So right at 100 grams exactly on the nose. This kit altogether, the one that I put together, is 47 grams, so a little less than half the weight. I took this out for a 2-night trip. You saw me use it out on the trail. I find that it's a trail-worthy piece. So, is this worth twice the weight? I think it's going to probably hold up a little bit better. It's nice to have this little knob on top of here because even with heat, this isn't going to heat up. This wooden piece isn't going to heat up. But when we break down and look at the individual components, the stove, you know that mine is about 4 to 5 grams. The choke hazard is 17 grams, so still extremely light. What's nice about it, for the purpose that I wanted it for, is dry baking, is that I can start it, set my baking dish on there, have it going, and never have to take it off to refill it. I can just simply add more fuel over here to the reservoir, and it will continue to burn. It'll continue to go as long as I have fuel to place in it. The pot stand was 11 grams, so that's 11 grams that you don't have to think about with this one, because the 11 grams is integrated into the Spiguyver stove. The lid itself was, I think, 17, no, it was 15 grams. You know, the QMH pot itself was 60 grams versus 29 on my homemade one. So, you know, we're talking about grams, though. We're not talking about ounces or pounds. Either way you go, it's going to be a super lightweight kit. I just find that this one's probably going to be better for doing some dry baking, rather than, this one was kind of finicky. The Spiguyver stove with the sleeve that I made for doing some baking was a little bit finicky and a little bit temperamental. So this is going to work out better for me. So the flame is heated up. Everything's heated up, so let's go ahead and take a look at the flame pattern. So here we go. I've killed the lights. I'm going to go ahead and put this windscreen back up a little bit. You know, there's a little bit of breeze blowing it over to the side, but you can see what the flame pattern looks like. It's a very low flame. It definitely isn't a huge rocket. And you can see that it's not burning through fuel all that fast. The reservoir still has almost all the fuel that I put in it still in there. It'll continue to feed as the burner side burns through it, but it's working just fine. You know, the fiberglass wick allows you to pick it up. If you tilt it a little bit, there we go, we can get it to separate from the pot stand, and there you can see the flame without the pot underneath it, or pot on top of it. Place the pot back on there. I've got just a little bit of water in there so that it doesn't, I'm not heating just an empty pot, because you never want to do that. So there you go, guys. That's the MiniBullDesign's QMH, or the choke hazard cook kit. So it comes with the choke hazard, the windscreen, the pot stand, and the QMH pot, which is about a 10-ounce capacity pot. I did 8 ounces of water in there earlier, just to show the differences in boil time. I consistently get between 5 and 6 minutes in cooler weather with the Spiguyver stove to boil one cup of water in this. The test that I did was in a very closed environment. It was inside, on top of my stove, inside my house, no wind, about 70 degrees, and it took 9 minutes and 51 seconds of this flame to bring 8 ounces of water to a boil. So it's definitely not something that I would take out there if I wanted to boil a lot of water and wanted to do it fast. I think that in that case, the Spiguyver stove is still going to win out every time, and there are other stoves out there that will do a much better job. But that's not the reason I bought this one. I bought this one to do some dry baking. So while I brought this out here tonight and I'm showing you guys what it can do here, and just kind of showing you the setup, I will be doing some more tests and showing you guys what it can do actually doing some baking. So I think I see some muffins in my future with this thing. I mean, look at that flame pattern. That's about perfect for what I'm looking for. Well, anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys checking in, seeing what I've been up to, seeing what I've got here. And as always, get out there and do it. I'll see you guys down the trail. Thanks.